So let's take a look at these breeze changes. It says, your stay in paradise has been upgraded. At the start of episode 7, act 2, Breeze will return to the map rotation with a few changes. Fracture and Pearl will rotate out. Blessed. Preview the changes below. Alright, first, mid pillar and mid cubby. So this was old Breeze. You can see this is new Breeze. And then this is the other perspective, right? So mid as a defender, probably coming down mid. This is like what you would see. And then this is what it's going to look like now. Breeze was a very, very attack-sided map because of the size of the map and the options available to attackers and the difficulty in defending the middle of the map as a defender. It was so difficult to defend the center part of the map. So this is like the Breeze minimap, right? The older Breeze minimap. What you would see a lot of is like Sova darts hitting here, Sova darts hitting here, Sova darts that landed right here, KO knives that fucking hit right here in the corner. All of this shit like really is difficult as fuck to break because the default comp was Viper, KO, Sova, Jet, and I think Chamber was run quite a bit, but the push was made for like Cypher a little bit back then. We ran Cypher on 100 Thieves. I actually thought Cypher was OP. But while you're throwing this initiator util, there was like a KO flash that would sail over this box. So if you look forward to break the util, you're blind. And yes, you might break it, but then the information that you're out is known to the attackers, and they'll use more util. And now you're stuck in no man's land in the middle of the fucking open. And this was the key problem with Breeze, in my opinion, because a map of this size where the attackers are just given the center of it just spells disaster for the map. And this is someone that enjoyed playing Breeze. Like, I actually enjoyed the map. I feel like the aim duels you got on it were pretty fun. It were different than any other maps because of the distance of them. So going back into these new changes, you know, adding this left wall right here, which could technically be scaled, right? But it does take a lot of time to do this. And if you're going to do it quietly, it's going to take way too long, right? Like, people will do it, don't get me wrong, but it's not really part of like some kind of set thing you want to do. And I don't even know if you can like actually do anything up here once you get here. It looks very tall, but there might be an extra box that's kind of off of this. I could still see shit like, you know, like darts hitting the wall or darts landing on top of this ledge and maybe a spam coming through. You could do stuff where like KO can pop flash over this box still and you would take this zone. But more importantly, I think these changes in mid, this is by far the most important part of this patch. I'm just going to say that because of all the things I just said, but also it frees up the other controllers for once. I'm not saying I don't think like Viper will still be giga viable, or if it's not Viper, it's Harbor, but you can at least fucking get map control with one of the other controllers now. Before it was impossible. It was impossible because you would have to wall something, which would give away literally like a lot of what you're going for. And sometimes teams would like mask it, right? By like, you know, something we did on 100 Thieves would we would like send walls across, like something like this. And, you know, like with this wall, you could technically do stuff like flash over and push it into like a mid B, and then you orb window. And that you can kind of get by with that. And then you like cloud burst towards spawn or some shit. And then you should also hall split with it. But most of the time, you were seeing like default walls towards A or the default wall towards B. It just sucked. It just sucked. There wasn't a lot of comp diversity. There wasn't a lot of play diversity on the map. And I think this freeing up mid makes it so much better. It makes it so much better, especially from a defender point of view. I mean, defenders now have a play to play mid. You know, like there's so many things they can do. And then going into the next set of pictures. All right, so this is B. This is the one part about the update where I'm not too sure about. I actually didn't think this part of the site was terrible. I think they could have done a lot of changes. What they opted for was really weird. So this is the change, right? And you can see right now that people in the site don't really have vision to like people behind this back wall. Yes, they can definitely hop up on this. They could definitely like scale up really quickly, but it just seems so riddled with anxiety. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I love this change. This is the one part of the changes where I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, it looks like there's a little nook here on the other side of this box, but obviously, so it's this top of this wall is accessible to both sides of it, right? This box right here, as well as this like double set right here, which it needs that because otherwise you would have like Vipers playing this hallway like right here, and they could literally just like have an orb somewhere like right here that just absolutely wrecks people coming out of B. Like you would just molly the orb as they come out, and then like say like a Sova dart, like I'm saying, like hits the wall, and all of a sudden you're just like spamming someone through this. So this box will protect from the spam onto like the default spot, hopefully, unless someone hops up here, in which case their head wouldn't be visible and they could still spam over this little box. I don't know. Not in love with this part of the change, but we'll see how it plays out. Like that's something that I definitely need to play to feel it out. All right, A halls and mid doors. So this is old A halls, right? Everyone knows this is where people would lurk, be cringe. If you didn't put your trip in halls, your whole team would fucking rage because they didn't know how to watch halls in the mid round. Yeah, it's this place. Well, they closed it off. Now you could still get shit through here. It looks like you could potentially be like a Sova over here and dart this back wall, or an even more common thing was, bring back up the mini map. A more common thing was you would see KOs like throw a knife on top of this area to get all this, and then you would see a Sova dart this wall like through this at the start of the round as defenders. It looks like they made that still a thing. Like they made it still possible to do that because they left these little gaps. Another thing that this could be used for is in the retakes for a site, just some cringe lurker, which I'll get to in a bit. But so imagine your Viper wall cutting across, you get the plant down, like you're some cringe cipher. You probably have some cringe trip somewhere, like, I don't even know, somewhere over here somewhere. And then you probably have like your A trip. And you could literally just like wait till you hear them like going for the retake. And it's a free option to go for a kill, because defenders will want to access this door to retake. They will want this. This is a very powerful angle to like retake from when you're doing like a 3-pronged retake. So that's why it still exists. It still exists because you're still going to want to use this door to retake the site. They're trying to make the map as defender side as possible, but they're also trying to create a little bit of like intricacy in allowing an attacker to like get a cringe lurk kill on someone trying to come through the door in the retake. Stuff like that is possible. So it doesn't look like a Yoru gate crash could go through this. I highly, highly doubt they would allow that to happen. And it's also too far for an Omen TP. So I can't really think of anything else that could interact with this. Nothing's really coming to mind. Might be able to like get some cringe cam like in there somewhere, but I don't think it'd be any good. It looks too far for an Omen TP, as someone that played quite a bit of Omen. Anyway, going into mid. This is a pretty cool change. So they changed this mid door a bit. What you would see a lot of before, again, when attackers would go mid, they would dump like initiator util like into this corner. Like a KO knife would like hit here. And honestly, no one can fucking break this. Like, what are you going to do? Come out here in the mid hit and break that? No, you're not going to break that shit. Of course not. And there'd be like a dart that hits like this corner sometimes, or, like even on the back wall. So slight adjustments here into mid. You could potentially break a KO knife up there now. It's like you could probably hide a KO knife behind this, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's not gonna get broken. But at least there's like a chance, right? There's a fucking chance. And it's not such a clusterfuck in the doors. I think I recently played Breeze in Swift play. And yes, I'm a Swift player. The fight when you're walking up mid and you're just like looking through this crack at all of these different elevation changes, like where someone could be like here, like up top, someone could be behind the rail, and someone could be like coming out of A main in the back line. And it just creates a lot of weird fight scenarios. I think just cleaning that up a little bit so that way the fights are open is so much better. It's so much better. Also, it's not as likely that like one piece of util can just absolutely shit on you and stall you out going mid. So another pretty big change. So they took away a lot from attackers when it comes to mid control, but I feel like they gave a little to attackers right here. This is the first thing that I feel like they've helped the attackers out with, if I'm being honest. Now going into a shop and a cave. So shop, you can see, like this is the old shop. Now there's all these fucking rat spots. Like there's just rat spots all over. It's a fucking lurkers field day. So like you could be like behind this box, you could be deep over here, you could be on the floor in front of this wall. Like these are really weird off angles that are super difficult for someone. If they were pushing in from A main as a defender, it's going to be difficult for them. Like there's a lot of variance in like where you put your crosshair. It's also a little bit too wide to be like U-tilt. This was old A lobby, like towards, this is again shop though. This is looking at shop when you're entering cave. So you can see like if you were to peek into this, it's pretty fucking risky, right? Like there could be a guy deep, there could be a guy here, there could be a guy over here, there could be a guy close behind this box or behind this box. But it gives a lot of options for defenders to like push in and hold in the mid round, right? Which I like a lot. Like it was already difficult as fuck to push him in. I'm not gonna lie, like it's not something that a lot of teams loved doing. It's like a risk you would have to take because the map was attack sided. But at least now I feel like you can be in this area and find like a little nook and be a huge thorn in the side of the other team. Like you can actually make a play. I don't know. Did they get rid of the cave? Did they get rid of it? Is that what I'm seeing? Did they get rid of the cave? I guess I didn't realize that the first time around. That's pretty fucking crazy. Okay. The fact that they got rid of the cave is pretty crazy. Defenders can push this shit all the time now, then. They're just going to like control this area. If there's just one choke for them to hold, dude, wait. Bro, I feel like defenders are just going to push this. If you're going to want to fight this as an attacker, you're going to have to dump some util. And I'm sure like an Omen could probably like one-way this lip. Not 100% because I've never tried it because I don't really play Omen on Breeze, but it's going to be hard to hold this. I mean, they could just smoke deep and then like do what I'm saying, like fault line through this part if they were running a breach. Smoke this, dart that wall through the halls like I was talking about, KO knife the ceiling, and just get control of this and make them take it back. Is there really no cave? Anyway, yeah, I think the map is really, really defender-sided now. This change also affects the lineups, makes the lineups easier. They also gave a shrimp and a crab, so that way we stopped calling them left tit and right tit, and we call them shrimp and crab.